Right, welcome to my weekly video blog, and this week I'm following on with where we left off in our Living and Learning series last week. You will remember that the symptoms of my anxiety disorder had come back, and this time things were slightly different. For a start, we had the clinical depression, which was starting up again, and that was mainly because I was thinking that I was never going to get rid of this, because I had thought it had all, sorted itself out over the summer, and it had come back. There was also the case of the support network. I had been at university when it had flared up before, and this time I was in the lay community, and you would have thought that a Christian lay community would be a better place to be supported than a student hall, but that was absolutely untrue. It's fair to say, and a lot of the other people in the community would also agree with my assessment, that first year, 2003, and the first half of 2004, so academically speaking, the 2003 year, the community was dysfunctional. It wasn't functioning as it should. I think there was a number of reasons for that. The first reason was I was the only person who was coming from outside of town, so I was really only the new person there, and I didn't know London at all, didn't know where I was going, what I was doing, and the others were getting a little bit impatient, I think, with me when I was asking so many questions and sort of not knowing, where anything is. The other problem was that they were all women, apart from me, and they would do their own little women things together that I couldn't be part of. Actually, that wasn't for the want of trying either. However effeminate I may sound, I was actually told, at various points that these things were not community things. They were things that the girls did as friends, and I wasn't part of that. So there was nobody I felt I could turn to. The only other person in the community was an Indian guy, Zibby Cherry Phillips, I seem to recall, who was far too busy with his women friends. I think he even made one pregnant at one point. I seem to recall a disaster. And so the only person I had who was supporting me was a guy called Charles Williams, who was one of the other vergers. He's actually, I believe, the Dean's Verger, present day, 10 years on. He did his best, but it wasn't enough to stop me from going into clinical depression. I would spend a lot of time when I wasn't working doing one of two things: reading all the stuff for my course, and sometimes I would read on the steps of St Paul's and spend most of the day there, basically. As the year went on and things got darker, and I don't mean that in terms of just myself, but I actually mean, we started losing light, I would go instead to a place called Bloomsbury, where Russell Square, where I could sit and I could read, and if things got bad, weather-wise, I could just literally run to the University of London Union building, which was just around the corner where I used to go swimming anyway. During that first week, Friday, must have been the Friday of the first week of October, I went along to ULU, the University of London Union, because they were having a freshers' fair. I was part of the University of London, based at Heathrow College, and so I was entitled to go. And of course it was the Society's fair, and I went, and I got involved with a group of people called Koinonia. Now, that is the word is Greek, and it means community. And what they were a student outreach, evangelical outreach, that were in fact Roman Catholic, but they were part of part of an almost contemplative sort of based group. The Roman Catholics have lots of societies, religious groups that come under their umbrella, and one of them is the Sword of the Spirit, and the Antioch community. Now that, in terms of South England, was actually based in Acton, and whole swathes of Acton are part of this this kibbutz. It's very strange, in fact. You wouldn't know if you were driving through it, but each one of them has a little chapel in their sort of basement underneath them, and the whole thing is run communistically in terms of the sharing of assets and stuff like that. So some of these people are extremely high-flying people in the city, or around London, doctors, lawyers, solicitors. So they're getting in plenty of money, and that money all goes into a big pot which the community use for the benefit of all of its members. It's because it's such a small scale in terms of, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 streets. It works. Any bigger than that, and we all know that communism falls apart. But this is a kibbutz style thing that's small enough as a community to actually work. Now their student outreach is a house, and it's a lot closer. It's not actually part of that community geographically. It's near North Kensington, I seem to remember, near Gloucester Road, Tube anyway. And I got talking to these people, and they seemed quite nice, and they did things like they invited people round for dinner, and they had little sort of like services and stuff. It was all very nice. So I remember that I was invited to go to them the week after, and their house was on Queensgate, wherever that is, I can't remember now. And I came out of the tube, and it was absolutely pouring it down. Didn't really know where I was going. This was the first time I went to see them, and I almost decided not to bother. Almost decided to get back on the tube and go home. As it was, I didn't, and I thought, look, I will have one go at trying to find this house, and I did. And because of that, I was part of a community in that first year, in the darkest months of my Great Depression, but it wasn't the community attached to St Paul's. It was this group of students, and as things went on, I actually found that I was able to help them. I was actually able to be a part of their community outreach. Now, I'm pretty rubbish at actually, being evangelical or anything like that. And the way they used to do this was, once a week they would go to one of the campuses at one of the colleges, and they would set up a little table, and they would talk to people over coffee and tea. And whilst I couldn't do any of the talking, I could certainly make a nice cup of tea. And so that was my function. I used to go along on one of my days off, and I used to man the kettle. We had a big boiler thing that we used to take with us, and some thermos flasks full of hot water and stuff like that. It was amazing. It was really fun. I enjoyed doing it. Unfortunately, as I got better in the following year, and the community that I was part of with St Paul's took off and became a different entity altogether, I pretty much dropped my association with Koinonia quite as much as before, which in a way was a little bit of a shame. But I was actually supposed to be part of St Paul's Day community. It was just that I managed to find another community to be part of when I needed a community for my own sort of well-being. Because a lot of the time when I was off, I would wander the South Bank, and it's one of the few times that I would cry in public just walking down the road. I would be thinking to myself, this was supposed to be my great opportunity. It's a once in a lifetime thing. I'm supposed to be enjoying it, and I can't because of the state of my health, and I don't know what's going on, and I don't know how this is going to get any better, etc., etc., etc. A day at a time.